welcome to my channel. It's Jill here from Flip and Thrift on Poshmark, and it's Flip and Thrift on Instagram. I am a Poshmark reseller and I'm here to share with you some tips and tricks. So if you like that type of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up at the end. So if you're new to Poshmark, make sure you download the app, or you can visit it on your web browser, and if you're signing up for the first time, make sure you use the code FLIPANDTHRIFT and you will get a $15 Canadian dollar credit, and I also get a $15 credit, so it helps both of us out. In this video, we're going to cover how to figure out what your personal top selling brands in your closet are. To do that, I will walk you through figuring out your own sell-through rate, which is a lot simpler than it sounds. So to do this, we'll use both the inventory report and the sales report that Poshmark provides for you, and I will show you how to break everything down in Excel. And then at the end of this video, I will tell you what my top brands are, and I might also mention what brands I will not pick up anymore based on this report. So without further ado, let's jump into how to download your sales and inventory report. I have my phone here, so I'm going to open that Poshmark app, and then I click on my own profile, scroll down to where you see all the different information, click on My Seller Tools. You'll see a few options. You'll click My Inventory Report, and then you just click Email Report to Me. You'll also do this for My Sales Report, and I downloaded it for my year to date since I started in March. You can do this for any given period of time that you want to analyze. I think it would be good to start with just a full report of everything. Unless you've been doing it for a couple years, then maybe do just this year or the past year, as brands do change over time. Okay, so now that I have my sales and inventory reports downloaded, this is what they look like. You should be able to just open them up in Microsoft Excel. So to start off with, we'll look at the sales activity report. I'm just going to get rid of these top few columns since I don't really need them right now. I'm going to next find the brand column, which is right here. I'm going to expand it so that I can see all the text in there. And now we want to sort this by brand, which will group our brands together so we can see which there's a huge chunk of. So to do this, you go in the little arrow beside sort, and you'll click on custom sort. Now you click the My Listing has headers, or my list has headers, which means that then when you click sort by, you can see the actual names of the columns rather than just column A, B, C, D, which can get a little confusing. So now I'm going to pick sort by brand. I will click OK. And now it's rearranged everything alphabetically. So now that it's done for that, I'm going to go and repeat the same thing over here on my inventory report, which is all the items that are currently listed in my closet. So again, I'm going to delete that top little part. I'm going to expand the brand. Data, sort, custom, sort by, and brand. Here we are. Now here's where it gets a little more tricky, and I'm actually going to create a whole new document for this. I have now opened a new document. So now I'm going to make two columns here. The first, sold items, inventory. I'm then going to go into my sold items. I'm going to select all of the items. I'm going to go copy. So I just use the shortcuts on the key, so that's Command C. I go back to this, and I go Command V to paste them. Again, I like to expand my column so I can see everything completely and it's not cutting things off, but that's just my personal preference, so that's up to you. I'm then going to go into the inventory report. Again, select all of the brands. I'm going to leave the bottom few out because there are items that don't have brands. So I have a lot of jewelry in my closet that is unbranded. What else do I have? I have a pair of heels, sweatshirt, just a few little things. Okay, so now that we have all of these here, I'm gonna just skim through and we're gonna do a few together. So in my next sheet, I'm gonna create yet another table, and it is gonna be brand, items, sold, items in inventory. So let's start off by identifying brands that are in both columns. So to start, we have Abercrombie and Fitch. We have one in each. We have one item sold and one item in inventory. And I should put the title. The next that we have is Adidas. And as I go through, I'm actually going to delete the items once I move them over, which will allow me to not have to count, and I just have to subtract the one. So basically, the first column is a null column. So then 12 minus 1, so we have 11 Adidas items here. In inventory, we have 20. And I will continue this for the rest of the items that I have multiples. So now I've made the list. I went through every single brand that I have. However, some I just have one in inventory or one sold. So those aren't really going to necessarily give me enough data to know if I should continue carrying them or not. And we'll need to look at other factors for that, which I'll cover in future videos. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification to be able to improve your inventory. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to calculate the sell-through rate. So to do that, we need to know the total number of items that I've ever had for every brand, because the sell-through rate is the total number of items sold divided by the number of items on hand or ever had. Normally it's done for a certain period of time. I have only been selling on Poshmark for 4 months, so my time period will be that 4 months on Poshmark. So now we're going to have to do a formula in Excel, which is a lot easier than it sounds. You simply have to click on the cell that you want to do the calculation in. You hit that little equal sign, which tells Excel that you're doing a calculation based on data that is in the spreadsheet already. You then click on the first cell that you want to be part of the equation. Here we're doing simple addition, since the number of items sold plus the number of items in inventory will be the total number of items. So we go plus and then inventory. Now I'll tell you a little secret shortcut here that will save you a lot of time, because I do not want to go through and do this formula for almost 200 items. You simply have to click the first cell, scroll down, click the bottom cell that you want to do the formula into, and then click Control D. This will simply copy and paste the formula, shifting it down by one cell every time. So now that I have the total number of items, we're ready to calculate the sell-through rate, which I have not titled it. Sell-through rate. To do this, again, very simple. Click that equal sign, click the number of items sold, divided by that new column we just made, and you click equals. So obviously here, we have not sold any of the one item we have, so it's 0. Again, I'll do that little shortcut. And we have our sell-through rate for everything. Now, a simple way to be able to use a sell-through rate is when it's in a percentage. So I'm just going to click this percentage button right up here, and it will turn everything into a nice percentage for me, which looks a lot better, I think. Now that sell-through rates are calculated, we're going to go back to that data sort tool, and we are going to simply sort using the sell-through rate. I'm actually going to reverse sort if possible. Yes, so I'm going to go largest to smallest because I want to see what the highest ones are first. And the ones that are 0 means stuff hasn't sold yet, so I don't necessarily care as much about it. Now, I have a lot here that say 100% sell-through rate. However, I've had, for the first 21 of them, I've only had 1 or 2 items, which doesn't give me a good idea. Again, if the item actually does well, I'll need to take into account other factors such as the speed that it sold, the price that it sold for, and the price I was able to get it for, and the profit I was able to make off the item. So those are other important factors to take into consideration when figuring out what items to carry in your closet. So the first item that's of interest is Lululemon right here. And I'm actually gonna go through and do a little highlight so I can save the good things for later. So Lululemon, I've carried a total of 72 items. I've sold a total of 48 of those, giving me a 67% sell-through rate. Okay. So I'm really happy with that 67% sell-through rate. As you can see, it's the highest sell-through rate other than those 100% where I only had 1 or 2 items sold. But yeah, so if I can have all my items up at that level, then I would be super happy. Being a new seller and still trying to navigate the waters and figure out brands, if I can get something in that like 40 to 50% sell-through rate range, I will probably keep it for a little while until the sell-through rate drops, because as we all know, trends change, popular brands change. So it's always important to check up on what's working and what's not, because maybe something that had an amazing sell-through rate previously isn't selling anymore, and that's also important to know. So next up, let's keep going down the list. I'm gonna skip over all these things that only had 2 items and are at 50%. And I'm gonna point out Fabletics over here. And we're gonna give it a little yellow highlight because I've only carried 4 items so far. However, these 4 items were all added within the last month, so it's a relatively new brand to me, and the fact that it's already at 50% is pretty good. I'm gonna keep picking it up when I can, and also being that I wanna focus on the more athletics brands, it is an athletics brand, so I will continue to carry it for the time being. Next, we have Yogalicious, again, an athletics brand. And I've only had 2 items because I haven't been able to find that many. This is something that I'm going to want to check what my profit margins are and how long they took me to sell. Next, we have a few more brands in a row that I've carried multiple items, so let's take a look at those. First up, we have Aritzia, which I've had 7 items and sold 3 of them. Now, Aritzia, I think, is a brand that a lot of people talk about. It's very popular. It's a trendy brand. And being in that 43%, if I can find their brands, I think I will continue to pick them up for the time being and give it a little bit more of a try. Same thing with Roots. Again, I've only added Roots to my closet in the past probably month and a half, and I've already sold 3 out of the 7 items, so I will continue to pick that up as well. So I will give those a little bit of a yellow since we're in that mid-range testing phase. All right, next up we have Adidas. I've carried a good amount of Adidas in my closet so far. I was a rep for Adidas for the summer, so some of those items were from my own personal closet that I just didn't wear anymore. I'd worn once for work because we had to wear Adidas, and then figured I'd make a bit of money back on them. So that one's at 35%. Again, I'm pretty happy with 35%, especially being new and figuring out the brands. I'll continue to pick up Adidas when I can get it at a reasonable price, because Adidas does have a lower selling price than Lululemon, simply because it's carried at stores where it's often discounted, which kind of brings down that resale value when you can buy it new at a significant discount sometimes. And I think Adidas, something that's also important is if it's a newer or older item, which is something I'll look more into what's still sitting in my closet. Is it newer items? Is it older items? Is it tops? Is it leggings? So that's something I want to analyze a little bit more, and I might do that in a future video. So if you'd like to see that, of how I can break down the analysis of specific brands, please let me know in the comments. So this one, Adidas is going to get a green. Next, we have Nike, which again, similar boat as Adidas in that it's carried at stores that give discounts, so it has a lower resale value, but I've carried 35 items and sold 11 with a sell-through rate of 31%. I'll probably continue to pick it up when I can find it at good prices. And again, I think I need to do a little bit of analysis into what pieces specifically to pick up in Nike. So that's also going to get green. Next, we have two more brands that I've sold just under 20 pieces. We have Under Armour, where I've sold 5 out of the 16 pieces I've carried at a 31% sell-through rate. Now, Under Armour is a brand that I probably will not pick up very often unless it's like at a super low price and I can make a good turnaround. This is because Under Armour, brand new itself, is at a lower price than Nike or Adidas. And again, it's sold at the stores where you can get discounts, which means it doesn't have as high of a resale value. But as you can tell, it still does okay in my closet, and it has a 31% sell-through rate, which I'm okay with. So we're going to give that one orange. Banana Republic, this one actually surprised me that it was so high because I've had a good amount of pieces in my closet and I felt like I hadn't really sold any, but I've still sold 5 out of the 18 pieces. Now, again, I'm going to go into a deeper analysis about it of what types of pieces I'm picking up, what sizes maybe, and what styles. But I think that is something that, again, if I can get it at a good price, I will continue to pick up. And Banana Republic, I mean, I like it in the sense that it's like workwear, and I kind of want to break into that market a little bit more. So if that's one of the workwear brands that's working for me, then I will continue to try to grow it. Okay, so the next few items we have here are only at 25% sell-through rate. However, I know that 2 of the brands within here were probably 2 of my top sales. So that kind of skews my judgment a bit on, just because it has a low sell-through rate, maybe it's still worth picking up because it has such a high profit margin. So the 2 brands within these are Kate Spade and Michael Kors. Now, the Kate Spade that I picked up, I ended up not making a huge profit on. So if I am to pick up Kate Spade in the future, I definitely need to take into account what the resale value is and how much I am paying upfront for it. Michael Kors, again, I sold 1 of 4 items, which was the same as Kate Spade, and it was a pair of boots that I sold for $90. So again, very high profit margins for these brands. So when I can find them and they're in good condition in current models and popular stuff, I will definitely pick it up just because of the higher selling price for them. Now, anything below 20%, I probably won't pick up, but there is one exception that I do want to point out on this list, which is American Eagle Outfitters, which I'm going to give a green out of, even though it's 20%. And the reason for this is, yes, I do want to do a bit more analysis into it. However, I know that initially and still a lot of the pieces that I have for American Eagle are shirts and tops and stuff like that, which is not a typical American Eagle piece. And I've recently added a lot of shorts and jeans, which are what American Eagle is known for. So I'm going to give American Eagles a little bit more time to prove itself in my closet. And if it doesn't improve above like 30% by the end of the summer, pretty much, I probably will stop picking it up. However, I think it's a brand that has potential to do well if I'm picking up the right pieces. Now, some other brands we have down here, we have Topshop, Forever 21, Zara, and then the rest I've only had a few pieces. except for Garage. These are all like mall brands, so have very low resale value. So I probably won't pick them up. I think most of these items were donated, so if that's the case, of course I will sell them. But when I'm sourcing for myself, they're not going to be my go-to items to pick up. Let's talk about Forever 21 and Zara. Let's start with Forever 21, where I have a 15% sell-through rate. I've sold 4 out of the 26 items that I've listed, which really isn't great. A lot of the Forever 21 stuff, again, was either donated from my own personal closet or I got like really cheap. So I probably won't pick up more pieces unless they are super unique, super cool pieces, because a basic generic kind of staple piece will not move. And this is kind of the same thing for Zara. A lot of the pieces, I have picked up a few for myself just because Zara's a brand that I like and I find it's kind of fun, it's trendy, and I really do want to give it a try, but I think I need to really make sure the things that I'm picking up are unique, cool, trendy, in popular sizes, and again, just aren't those like basic staple pieces, because that's not the type of pieces that people are looking for in those brands on Poshmark. So thank you for sticking through that. I hope that it was interesting and helpful for you. So in summation, I will tell you my top 10 brands that I will continue to pick up based on this analysis, and 3 brands that I will never pick up anymore. So the top brands are Lululemon, Nike, Adidas, Fabletics, Banana Republic, Aritzia Brands, Roots, American Eagle, Kate Spade, and Michael Kors. And again, all these brands, it obviously depends on the condition of the item, what the items are priced at, and if the item is like a new piece or an old piece. So I won't just pick up any piece just because it's these brands, but there's a higher chance that I will pick it up over other brands. And the 3 brands that I will most likely never pick up again, unless there's like a super cool, amazing piece, that I know that it will sell and that I can make a good profit off because it's at a low price, are Forever 21, H&M, and Garage. And I'd love to hear in the comments down below what your top brands are, or what you think your top brands might be, and any other types of videos you might want to see. So thank you for sticking with me throughout that video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow along with more content and videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe and bell notification so that you're notified when new videos come out. Until next time, bye!